Welcome to Let's Make Cake. I'm your host, Michelle Pyle, and I am here talking about how to overcome depression and anxiety and make a great life. That is something I did for myself through a lot of hard work. So I'm here to just talk about how I did that and what I did and share my story with you guys in hopes of helping other people out there. So thanks for being here. And this week I'm talking about loneliness. So if you can catch Monday's video, I kind of introduced the topic. And today I want to just keep talking about it because it is something that we often experience when we're having depression or anxiety or major life transitions. Yeah, it can happen for a number of reasons, right? But loneliness is hard and scary. And so, yeah, I just wanted to talk about it this week with you guys. So, today I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to talk about things I did right and wrong, but in kind of two buckets. So, the first is like, how do you live with it? So, like, while you're overcoming it, you're still experiencing it. So, what are some things you can do to help get through those moments that are scary and overwhelming? And then the second one is, of course, like, well, how do I get out of it? How do I get rid of this loneliness? So in the first bucket, the like while you're experiencing it, what are things you can do? And so I would just encourage you to remember that loneliness is a feeling that you're experiencing. And so, like, with all of our feelings, but especially negative feelings, when they kind of come on really strong and want to like knock us down or take us to dark places, we have to do some things to just kind of temper the feeling. And so I refer to this as ride the wave, because this is something that I had learned when I was getting better. And it's just this idea that if you look at feelings as like this kind of giant wave coming on, and that instead of letting it knock you down and like drag you through the sands up to the shore, you want to find a way to just like, you still experience the emotion, but it doesn't like knock you down. And so the primary way to ride the wave is to do what they refer to as a grounding exercise, which I just see as like something to change your physiology. So a lot of times when we're experiencing really intense emotions, our bodies actually are involved in that process. And so we don't always want to think our way out of it. Sometimes we just want to do something to reset our physiology, and that will actually calm us down. Okay, so that's what a grounding exercise is. So when you have those intense moments of loneliness, and maybe you're like, I can't do this right now. Maybe you're, crying uncontrollably, or you're, feeling panicky or whatever. I do the grounding exercise 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There are many grounding exercises out there. So just a simple Google search, you can find lots of them. This is just the one that worked the best for me. So I highly encourage people to try it. So you engage all 5 senses. So I find 5 like different, say, shades of green wherever I happen to be sitting. So I'll go through and look for 5 different things that are green. Then you can do 4 sounds. So you listen for 4 different things, maybe like a fan is blowing, or the sound of my voice, or your breathing, etc. Then 3, you can touch 3 different like textures around you. And you can mix these up, of course. 2, you can do like 2 different scents, right? So you want to find 2 different things you can smell, like a candle or coffee or something like that. And then 1, a taste. So taste a glass of water, or lick your lips, whatever. But doing that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it seems so silly, but it will help calm you down in those really intense moments where you're experiencing loneliness and you're kind of panicking and your mind is spinning out of control. Just getting your body to calm down will help your mind calm down, and it pairs together really nicely, and it absolutely works. Now, this is not a long-term solution for loneliness. This is just in those intense moments. Maybe it's Saturday night and you're just like, I can't do this. Like, I'm so alone and this feeling is just unbearable. You can really do these grounding exercises to just help you calm down and move through those intense moments of loneliness. So that's like a big one, I think, when you're trying to like just deal with the moments where you're feeling very lonely. Another thing I would do is, can you identify like times when you feel more lonely? So like for me, it was when work got out and it was like, oh, I have to go to my empty apartment and I have no friends to hang out with and no family around and I'm all by myself. And so work was over and work was like a great distraction, but now I'm right. It's the silence, it's my mind. And so finding things like even just for 30 minutes, right? Can you identify those moments when it's really intense and you can go do something, right? Like I would make myself go to the grocery store, whether I needed to buy groceries or not, but just like to break that moment between leaving work and going to my depressing apartment. Weekends, but are there like specific times, like maybe in the morning it's worse on Saturday than at night, or just try to identify what are moments when it's worse and kind of make yourself go do things, even though it's not the cure for loneliness, right? Like being around strangers isn't going to solve loneliness, but like going shopping or something. But it can just help you, right? Because it's probably not 24/7. There probably are just these critical moments where it's worse. And so you want to try to identify those and come up with strategies to break it up, right? You don't need a plan for 4 hours, but what's a 30-minute plan? So again, these are just like little, this is not going to solve your loneliness problem, but you do have to live with it while you're doing the long-term solution. So you want to find these little just moments of I can get through this. Or maybe you make a plan to call someone, right? So if you do have a family member who you can call and specifically like Sunday mornings are the worst for me, can you make a plan to like reach out to them and have a phone call? Or just different things like that, but kind of evaluate like yourself, like when do I feel this? When is it the hardest? And how can I just find little moments of relief within that? So that's probably like my main, like short term getting through it. I do want to talk about what we do that doesn't help. And I can tell you I've done these, so I'm not saying this as I've done the things that don't help. So let's talk about them so that we know like, hey, let's maybe not do this. So when we're lonely, sometimes we think it's because I need a significant other, right? So you might get a little desperate in a search for a partner. You might find yourself online dating or letting people in your life who don't treat you well because that loneliness, you think, I can fix this with a partner. It's very difficult when you're not presenting yourself as your best self. Sometimes you're going to attract people who aren't good for you. So it's not great. Again, I've done it. I did the online dating when I was, like, I'm so lonely. I can't handle this. I just need to meet somebody. And it was a total disaster. So I'm not saying like, if you do it, you'll survive, but just recognize. And I wish someone had kind of set me down and been like, hey, Michelle, now's probably not the time to try to meet somebody. You are really unhappy. Now's not the time. Let's solve this loneliness another way. Then there's like, right, kind of addictive behaviors, right? Like doom scrolling on social media, drinking too much, you trying to use, marijuana to just numb yourself, to get through the night. other, addictive behaviors can show themselves, right? And we just want to make sure we don't hurt ourselves in these times because we are so vulnerable and we are in this horrible place that you want to, if you can recognize, like, I actually need to protect myself right now. I need to not engage in like risky behaviors, right? Like, I have to remember that I need to take care of myself through this loneliness problem that I'm facing, and just really try to just take better care of yourself. And if I could tell my past self, I would say, like, yeah, those like behaviors you're engaging in, they're not going to fix your loneliness. You're going to end up feeling worse about yourself. And it's actually going to take you longer to get out of this loneliness problem. Maybe you make some superficial friends, but your whole friendship is kind of based around like partying or, unhealthy, like on the surface, and that ends up making you feel worse. Again, we all do this. So I'm not judging because I am speaking from experience. I have done it. I've also done the good tools, and when I finally did the good tools, that's how I got out of it. But I have also done the not helpful things, so I can speak from experience. It won't help you. It will delay your progress, and it will make you feel worse. So if you can find a way to talk to yourself and just realize, now's not the time to be doing some of those things. So again, no judgment. But then, okay, so how do we, that's like dealing with managing while I'm experiencing this loneliness. So then how do you get out of loneliness? And it's really easy to, because I did this, you want to like think like, well, why is this happening? And what did I do wrong? And where did I go wrong? And you can kind of overanalyze and, get a little too like philosophical about it. Just the way to fix loneliness is, and I wrote this down because this was in one of the articles that I talked about on Monday, and the guy just said, you have to push yourself to be around other people, right? And that's why we get lonely when we have depression, because when we have depression and anxiety, we withdraw. We withdraw from our family, our friends, our communities, society, right? We just withdraw. And the only way to get over loneliness is you have to push yourself to be around other people. And so you're going to have to find that courage within yourself to step out of your comfort zone where you're home, you're isolated, and you don't have to face what you might feel like people are judging you, or like, I don't know how to like even be around people, especially if you're experiencing severe depression. But yeah, it's the only way out of loneliness, unfortunately. So an easy thing is like, because friendship can be tricky, right? Making new friends when you're experiencing depression can be hard. Finding a partner, right? Like that stuff can be difficult. So kind of a safer place to start is community. So are there groups that already exist that you can just participate in? And so that way, there's no pressure on you to like show up and have to tell your whole personal story, right? So like if it's a hiking group or a church group, or, a sports club or whatever, right? You need to find those groups that already exist and try to plug into them, because that's going to be a really safe way to start to push yourself to be around other people. I remember doing just like yoga class, and I joined like a specific yoga studio, and I would go to the same class, on Tuesday and Thursday or whatever. But I didn't have to like talk to the people, but we were with them in this kind of shared experience. And it was a way to where I could be around other people. And it's like, oh yeah, I've seen you here before. And you kind of nod in acknowledgement, but there's not that pressure to take it to the next level, that when you're depressed, you're not ready to do that. but it forces you, you're out of your house, you're being around people. So that is something that helped me a lot, like ease into, right? Like then ultimately, making friendships and things like that. So community, clubs, groups is just a great way to start. And especially like there's usually an organizer or a leader and like they love this stuff. They love that you join their group. And so that's like positive reinforcement that you might need like as you're taking these steps out of isolation back into like the world. Ultimately it's going to be like deeper, more meaningful connections, right? Because loneliness is usually like you want to feel seen and understood, but you kind of baby step towards that, right? So, especially while you're trying to resolve your depression. So, clubs and groups and communities are just a great way to start to make that progress towards deeper relationships. I would also encourage you, I know family's tricky, right? It depends on like your relationships with your family members. But I know that sometimes or at least I withdrew from them because I was ashamed like of myself. But, here I am again, depressed, I'm a loser, like I don't know how to be happy, right? All those negative thoughts. And sometimes we think that people are judging us, but they're actually not. They might just be like confused. They don't know how to help, and that scares them. And so finding ways to connect with your family members, if you do have family members that you feel like you can connect with, in more lighthearted ways, like let's go get ice cream or let's go, to Target or whatever. But like keeping it a little more simple and easy and showing to yourself, like, it's okay to, put myself out there with them. And we don't always have to talk about, what problems I'm experiencing. So it is okay to stay kind of up here and start to rebuild those connections. So I know family is tricky for some people, or you may not even be around family because that, like, if you move to a new place and you can't do that, that's obviously not going to help. But I also know that we sometimes withdraw, or I did, from family because we're feeling that like ashamed of ourselves. And I would just encourage you to at least give them a chance to prove to you that they're not judging you the way you think they might be. And one way to do that is to just have more lighthearted times together. So I would encourage you to try that as well. But yeah, you have to push yourself to be around people. And that is the number one way to get over loneliness. And it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about those other, tools, things you can use in those moments where, you're like, oh my God, I can't handle it's such a horrible feeling when you are experiencing loneliness in those really intense moments. I've been there. It's not pretty. It's terrible. But yeah, like you can absolutely overcome loneliness. I know because I did, and other people have, and other people talk about it. So it's great, like, that the article I talked about on Monday, I'm sure that guy has like an Instagram or whatever. You could follow him. It helps a lot to know that you're not alone and that other people experienced loneliness and got out of it. So find like positive, role models. Watch my videos. That's one of the reasons I'm here is I'm like, I just needed someone to tell me like, it's going to be okay. It's okay that you're in this terrible place and like, you're going to have to fight your way out of it. And it's hard work and it's not easy, but it's 100% possible. Like I'm here, I did it. And so I know you can do it. And that's why I want to share like what I did to help myself. I think the hardest thing with all of this stuff is that you have to take the steps despite not wanting to, right? Like leave your house. You have to take the steps And you have to be patient because this stuff takes time, right? So it's not like, if you try something, like say you try like a church group and you're like, oh, I hated it. Or that didn't work. I'm still lonely. Well, yeah, you have to give it a chance. So you have to keep going, right? And you have to be like patient with yourself and patient with other people, right? Because when we build relationships, it takes time, and we can't give up. Just do not give up. Keep trying. That is probably my biggest message, is like, I kept trying, and if you keep trying, you will overcome this, because I did, and I know you will too. And I do think we should try to take comfort in the fact that experiencing loneliness is a very normal human thing to go through, right? So let's try not to be so scared of our negative emotions. Let's not shame ourselves, because that is paralyzing, and we won't make progress if we're saying, I'm a loser, I'm a failure, nothing I do is right, nobody wants me, I have no value to anybody, right? All those thoughts that we can create through depression, you have to start to reject those, because they're not true. And they're going to paralyze you. You're not going to take any steps, and so you will stay lonely and you will stay depressed, right? That I kind of wish a therapist had just kind of laid it out for me this way, like some hard truths, right? Like, you have to fight your way out of this. You have to fight your negative thinking. You have to push yourself to be around other people. Like, that is such basic advice. Push yourself to be around other people. And but it's hard. And so the simple advice doesn't mean it's easy, but you can do hard things. That actually is a mantra that I used when I was trying to get better. I said, my mantra was, I can do hard things. I can do hard things. I can do hard things. Because this stuff is hard. The good news, it gets easier. And that's what's really cool, right? So like at first, some of this stuff is like, you're like, this feels impossible. It's not working. It's stupid, whatever thoughts you have. But if you keep at it over time, it gets easier and easier and easier. And then eventually it's just like riding a bike. And you're like, I just know how to do this now. I can recognize, oh, I've been, isolating a little bit. I need to reach out. I need to go do something, right? So yeah, so just take comfort in that it will get better when you put the work in. So yeah, so that is today's message. Sorry, I need my camera. I move around too much, I guess, when I'm recording. Sorry, guys. It keeps going fuzzy. So I don't know if I'll keep talking about loneliness on Friday, but I will definitely have a video on Friday. It is like, it's hard to talk about loneliness because, like, especially when I kind of go back to those moments and just remembering like how painful they are. Yeah, it sucks, right? Like, it's not easy and it's not fun. And I don't want to suggest that it is, but I just want to give you that hope and that confidence that you can do this, because I did it. And I have social anxiety. I have, negative thoughts about myself, right? I have the whole gamut I get to live with. So that's how I know if I did it, you can do it. So yeah, so that's today's message. And I will be back on Friday. Not sure yet what I'm going to talk about, but some ideas come to me in the middle of the night. But you can find more on letsmakecake.org, connecting to my YouTube, Instagram. I'm going to put my email up there because I'd love, if you do find this video, I'd love to hear from you. If there's something you want me to talk about, that would be awesome. I love talking about this stuff because it was my life for so long was trying to get better. So yeah, and I did it, and it feels really good, and I just want to help others any way I can. So yeah, so letsmakecake.org. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again on Friday. Okay, thanks guys. Bye.